Money FM 89.3, best of weekends.
Dipa Swaminathan is the founder of It's Raining Raincoats, a recent effort by them, their group, and others to donate the Singapore Rediscover vouchers that are not being used to the underprivileged around Singapore so that people that wouldn't necessarily have a chance to get out and see our great exhibits, our events, our places to go, tourist places can now go and do that. Dipa, welcome to the show. Great to have you on. What a great moment for your organization and for others.
Yes, it is. This whole idea about donating, the tickets from the Singapore Rediscovers voucher was a brainchild of one of our volunteer leaders, Jocelyn Lim, and we weren't really sure what the uptake was going to be. I remember when we launched it, I think it was 2 weeks ago, she sent me a panic message a few hours later saying, "Oh my God, we've only got 30 tickets so far." So Jocelyn, it's just been a few hours, calm down. And here we are, we've got more than 3,000 tickets, which is a large enough number. But when you place it in the context of the nearly 1 million migrant workers in Singapore, it's still less than 1%. But at least a few thousand workers are going to get what will surely be a once-in-a-lifetime treat for them. Probably unprecedented. I don't think, as far as I know, I don't think migrant workers have ever been taken on an excursion on the Singapore Flyer.
And how's it actually going to work? Is it just going to be one event or many events? How will it go?
Okay, so, again, Jocelyn is sort of the lead in charge, but the way we're doing it is we're doing it in batches. So we've got the first few rides on the 31st of January, which is, I think, next weekend. So we are also arranging buses for the migrant workers. We're giving them little goodie bags, something to eat because they will be out for 3 hours. So, we've got a team of volunteers arranging those goodie bags. We've got a team of volunteers arranging the buses. I mean, these things tend to be a huge logistical operation. I mean, it looks quite simple, but there's many, many elements to it. And we are purely volunteer run. We have zero overheads. None of us get paid for what we do. We have no staff costs. We have no premises. We have no, funding for ourselves. So it's all volunteer led and arranged. And I'm so proud of my volunteers for doing this. And obviously very proud of Singaporeans who've come forward to, so graciously donate their vouchers for this purpose.
It is a wonderful feel-good story, and heaven knows we need as many of those as possible at the moment. What has been the response from the migrant workers so far to this wonderful act of generosity?
Well, many of them have heard about it. And the problem is we have now this huge queue of workers waiting, and we have the very, very difficult and unenviable task of picking and choosing among them. So I'm sure the guys who go, we took, several hundreds of them on bus rides over Christmas. And we actually heard a few workers. Somebody told me, in person, so I can vouch for it, that it was his happiest moment all year. And, this had never happened to him. He had never sort of sat in an air-conditioned bus with music playing and, and the activity being for him, to take them around. So
that was to show them the sights of Singapore, right?
Yes, it was to show them the Christmas lights because, as you know, their mobility still, is restricted. Most of them can go from place of work to place of lodging, but not yet, the same sort of extent of freedoms that we have. It's improving in measures. So working alongside MOM and, some other stakeholders, it was our privilege to sort of arrange these bus tours to take them around. But that's when we got the idea of trying to see if we could do a little bit more, because we also heard one migrant worker tell us as we passed by Marina Bay Sands, he didn't know what that building was called. And I thought that was so sad, considering it's our workers who build these buildings. Imagine, coming off from the airport, going to your site in Jurong, just sort of spending your years in Singapore there, and then, not really getting to enjoy the sights of the city the way we do. That's not true for all of them. In obviously up until 2019, they were all sort of free to move around. But, last year, was a particularly tough year. So we want to try and, and give them some things to look forward to from time to time.
Talking with Dipa Swaminathan, the founder of It's Raining Raincoats, about an effort to give free vouchers and free experiences at the Singapore Flyer and Night Safari and other places to our migrant workers. As I read one article, there were some 300,000 vouchers that have already been dispersed to the Singaporean community. And if somebody wants to donate their vouchers, and that was out of 3 million Singaporeans who are eligible, right? So just 300,000 have been collected. If somebody wants to donate their voucher, or how do they do that? Or if they don't have a voucher, can they donate cash to also support this program?
Yeah, good question. So let me tackle the second one first. So if they want to donate cash, we have a link on Ray of Hope. So Ray of Hope is a registered charity. It's a platform on which people can fundraise. So we're running a campaign on there too. And if people just Google Ray of Hope migrant workers or Ray of Hope flyer rides and bus rides, they'll come to that link. And, then they can just donate. And as I said earlier, 100% of the proceeds will go towards this cause. We have, no overhead. So, they needn't be concerned about that. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is if they have vouchers and they want to redeem it, we're going to run this initiative all the way until June, which is, I think, the period to redeem these vouchers. Again, on our Facebook page of It's Raining Raincoats, if they just scroll down a few posts, we've actually listed out the steps to redeem the vouchers. The platform on which to do that is Klook, which is KLOOK. So people can also, just Google Klook and It's Raining Raincoats, and it should take them to the link. And if they have any difficulty, they can always message our Facebook page, and we can connect them with a volunteer who'll be happy to help them.
Dipa, you mentioned the volunteers there. Our previous guest, Speaker of Parliament Tan Chuan Jin, said that there is still a need for volunteers and the acts of volunteerism, arguably now more than ever, especially as we're possibly going to have a few difficult months ahead as we deal with the economic ramifications. I mean, people listening to us now who may not have a voucher to give or may not even have the cash to give, but are quite willing to give their time, is that something you're still looking for? Do you still need volunteers, extra hands? If so, what and where can they get involved?
Yeah, we're blessed to have, close to 500 volunteers. Wow. And, these are all amazing people. As I said, none of them get compensated in any way for what they do. They're with It's Raining Raincoats because the cause of the migrant worker community resonates with them. And I think that's important when you volunteer for a cause because, over the course of time, I've also seen volunteers come on because they have something else in mind to get out of it. But the really, truly impactful volunteers are the ones for whom the ultimate cause resonates. It's not It's Raining Raincoats per se that is a draw for them, but, it's the migrant workers because that is ultimately our collective mission. So yes, we always need volunteers. And again, the best way to do it would be to just message our Facebook page of It's Raining Raincoats and we'll get all the information over to them. One thing we're always in need of is people with wheels, because especially now with our free bazaar coming up for Chinese New Year, etc., we always are in need of transporting things from the collection point to the ultimate beneficiary. So we love having especially volunteers who have maybe larger vehicles, vans, lorries, trucks, and so on. So that's something we're always looking for. So anybody with wheels, if you have a couple of hours to spare here and there during a week, we'd love to have you. But we're also, always looking for people who have IT skills who can help us with our website, with some app development, people with comms experience.
Yeah, so back end kind of things. Yeah. Because like I said, we have no funding. So we need support in those funds, on those fronts as well, especially as we're growing.
And tell us a little bit about the bazaar that you just mentioned there, upcoming for Chinese New Year, did you say?
Yes. So, Neil and Glenn, if you're spring cleaning and you have some of your cool clothes to give away, you know who to reach out to. So this is an initiative to collect pre-loved items. As you know, in Singapore, we're always struggling to figure out where to give things to. Mm-hmm. So we have a specified list of items that we know the workers can use and, they love. Obviously, we can't give them sort of Bohemian Crystal because, there are limits to things we can give them.
Oh,
we have no place.
You know my apartment so well.
Neil's got so many extra sets of bone china around.
You can't move for Bohemian Crystal in my house. My daughter's saying, Dad, if I see one more piece of Bohemian Crystal.
Okay, you know what? I've used that
I love it.
I've made this. I'm not going to use it again.
No, I love it. I'm using it all the time now. I love it.
I think we've just adopted a new slogan. It may not be Bohemian Crystal, but it's weekend mornings.
Yeah, it's got like a jazzy band. Coming up, Bohemian Crystal, a new jazz band. Sorry, I interrupted you.
You were saying, yes. How do we donate?
I'm glad to give you the opportunity to have a few laughs at my expense all the time. But so anyway, yes, we are collecting items and it's going to be a free bazaar. So we're going to go to their recreation centers and there'll be tables and tables of stuff with, men's clothes and backpacks and caps and all the rest of the stuff we're collecting. And, workers can come and take what they want for free. These are always hugely popular events. It sort of marries sustainability with compassion, I feel, because you're free cycling. And you're also giving these guys what they need for free. And it doesn't cost anybody anything because they're only giving away what they, feel is excessive in their own homes.
Yeah. And it's funny because my wife and I were just going through our closets a couple of weeks ago. And we're like, we haven't worn these clothes for like the past year. So clearly we don't really need them. Yeah. So we actually had donated, SPH has a donation box here out in the lobby. And we donated some things. But it's good to hear you doing it as well. And if people do want to donate those items, the list you mentioned of things you're looking for, I assume that's on the It's Raining Raincoats website?
Yes, it is. Not the website. I mean, we have a website, but it's not really up and running yet. So on our Facebook or Instagram pages. Yeah.
Got it.
No, it's a serious point. I'm certainly going to use it because my wife and I, we do regular drop-offs at the Salvation Army down near the Japanese school once a month, once every couple of months. And I actually say to my wife, look at me. I'm built like an orangutan. These my clothes are not really, but something like this, there is going to be migrant workers who are also built like orangutans like me. And I can actually pass my clothes on to someone and it will be more beneficial.
Well, it's funny too because I love the Salvation Army and we've donated over the years.
Course.
But you go there and there's so much stuff already there that of course many Singaporeans don't want the secondhand stuff, right? So I think donating it to you, Dipa, it's going to go directly to people that are going to use it the next day, right? Yeah,
and I'll tell you, so we used to have potluck events, nationwide potluck events for the migrant workers. We've done it in 2018 and 19, and we had these huge halls in the recreation centers, and one half of the hall was reserved for this free bazaar. The first time we did it, we had so much stuff that my volunteers were freaking out. They were starting to call movers and so on, thinking, oh my God, what are we going to do with all the leftover stuff? I said, guys, let's see how it goes. And by the end of it, there wasn't even a empty cardboard carton that was left. Even the cartons, the last workers coming in took it. So they have use for everything. They very rarely get anything for free. We all get stuff for free from one another, Sure. But, nobody comes around handing out things to them for free. So as much as we can get, we can pass it on. And it won't go to the bin. It's not going to go to the landfill. It's not going to go to the incinerator.
It's going to go
to somebody who's going to use it. Yeah.
That is absolutely true. When I moved apartments last time, friends of mine, the migrant workers who did the gardens around our estate, I just invited one of them up to say, if there's anything you want, help yourself. I was very mindful of the fact that I didn't want to come across as patronizing. Not only did he not think I was patronizing, he called up 6 other guys. He called up every gardener. This is a true story. Every gardener from the housing estate. And you are so right. There was not a single thing left. They took my daughter's dolls and old clothes and toy cars and Lego because they'll always find something for it, whether they give it to family members back home or it's clothes. Every single item was taken. I could not agree more. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And they're very good with sharing among themselves. So if it's, like you said, Neil, if it's not something that fits one guy, he'll pass it on to somebody else that it works for. So they're quite, they're very good that way.
Dipa, we're going to leave it there, but Right after we get off, can you go ahead and put just copy and paste the link for the Facebook page in our chat on the Money FM site right here, on the
Sure.
Money FM Facebook site, so if people want to get to it quickly, they don't have to look too hard for it. That'd be great.
I'll send across all the info. Don't worry.
That'd be great. Our pleasure once again to speak with Dipa Swaminathan, the founder of It's Raining Raincoats, one of the many organizations doing great work here to support our foreign workers here in Singapore. Thanks for being with us as always, and look forward to talking with you again in the future.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Neil. Have a good weekend. Bye now.
You bet. You too.